Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Everyone, welcome to the show. So 62-year-old Texas resident Robert Dennis admitted that he knew the mob was being hit with tear gas and that someone had been shot, but he still illegally climbed through the inauguration scaffolding and he made his way to the lower West Terrace. He also admitted that he saw a line of officers holding out batons and riot shields and that they made it clear that the mob shouldn't try to move beyond that point. But he was seen on video trying to incite the crowd to advance toward the building anyway. He was also seen on video approaching the police. He had his hands in front of his face, and he assaulted two officers. So first, he grabbed an officer's baton, and he grabbed the officer's right arm. And then when a second officer jumped in, tried to get him off, she struck him with her baton, and she pushed him. Dennis grabbed the female officer's baton. And then he briefly stumbled backward, and then he advanced again towards the police line. This time he struck a third officer, and Dennis then grabbed the third officer by the neck. He knocked him to the ground. He basically charged at him. And then he starts kicking him. He was hitting him, and he was basically on top of him at one point. So approximately 5 police officers tried to pull Dennis away, tried to restrain him. And during this time, Dennis is punching and kicking at them as well. So 2 of the officers that were attacked by Dennis suffered injuries. They were forced to leave the police line. So Dennis was briefly taken into custody on January 6th. But as you guys know, as with other detainees, the police had no way of getting them to the police station for booking because there were so many people on the road. There were so many people on the Capitol grounds. There was just literally no way to get vehicles in and out. So the police had to just take their IDs and then they were forced to release them. Well, in July of 2021, Dennis was questioned by the FBI. And this guy has such a victim complex. Dennis told the agents that on January 6th, he experienced his, quote, Rodney King moment, where he was beaten and sprayed by officers. So for my non-US viewers and younger audience members, Rodney King is a Black man who was subjected to a brutal, vicious, horrific, prolonged beating at the hands of racist Los Angeles police officers. And it was one of the very first instances that the whole thing was captured on video. It was the first time that happened because this was back in the early 90s. So, this was when we had camcorders. This was way before cell phones had cameras and very few people even had cell phones at this time. So this guy is just delusional. And Dennis went on to say that to the agents that he was, quote, waiting for the Kraken to be released. Yeah. Keep waiting, Dennis. So he was arrested on October 20th of 2021, and he was indicted on charges of civil disorder, 2 counts of assaulting officers, entering restricted grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and 2 counts of physical violence. But Dennis refused a plea deal. He opted for a bench trial. And at the trial, Dennis tried to excuse his violence. He said that he was defending a woman who was being roughed up by the police. So the judge reviewed the video evidence and determined that no, his attack came well after her interaction with the police. And he said she wasn't in any imminent danger anyway. Dennis also tried to claim that he only wanted to talk to the police, just wanted to have a conversation with them. Well, his own statements on and after January 6th prove that he is completely full of it. His intention was to enter the Capitol. While Dennis was detained on January 6th, he was having conversations with other people in the mob. And in one instance, and this was all caught on body camera, he said to some other person in the mob, quote, I have a right and the government works for we the people, not the other way around. We want to get to them, to talk to them. They are supposed to let us. We don't live in a free country anymore. This is ridiculous. And then he told one of the officers, quote, hey, you all were blocking a house that belongs to we the people. And he made that statement saying, like, that's why I did what I did. And in his July interview with the FBI, Dennis admitted that he planned a, quote, football rush. That's what he was going to do to the police line. So in January of 2023, Dennis was convicted on all counts with the exception of 2 disorderly conduct charges and 1 count of assault. And the only reason that the assault charge was dropped was because the officer wasn't available to testify at the trial. So Dennis was looking at up to 8 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $250,000 in fines. The government, though, requested only 64 months in prison, 3 years of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. I couldn't locate any details about what was said at the sentencing hearing, but U.S. District Judge James Boasberg presided over Dennis' case, and Judge Boasberg sentenced Dennis to 3 years in prison, 2 years of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. Definitely not what I would expect. I would have expected 3 years if this guy pleaded guilty and accepted a plea deal for assault. But he hasn't even accepted responsibility for his violent behavior. And here's the thing, Boasberg has been really tough in these cases. So I truly thought that he was going to give the prosecutor close to, if not the full 5+ years. I don't know what's going on lately with these judges, like something's in the water. You know, it's like they've all checked out or something. It's like, oh, summer's coming up. I don't know. I mean, they just all stopped caring, it seems like, with a very rare exception. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that's where it stands. Sorry for the, somewhat crappy news, but I will let you know if I hear any more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.